rappers, they're all so tough until you hear their real name.
Yeah, well, until you see them at a puffy party.
Oh,
Then they're not tough no more. I'm surprised that the rap game is still alive after, because the masculinity that the rappers are supposed to portray, perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho Is Home. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore.
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at it. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. He's sitting there, just looking at it, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think.
All right, guys. Today we're diving into a story that starts with bold claims and controversial industry rumors. Within seconds, the conversation shifts from rap culture to allegations surrounding powerful figures, while Petey Pablo's name is introduced as someone who allegedly paid a heavy price for speaking out. Whether every claim is accurate or not, this opening is designed to raise questions, spark curiosity, and set the stage for a deeper look into the hidden side of the music business.
Being locked up for 6 years, I was a millionaire. And that was the craziest thing in the world. Like, I sat on the corner. The day we signed the deal, me and my partner Fab, I remember we had like $7 and like almost $8. And we bought us 240s of Old English 800. 2 egg rolls from a little Chinese spot, and it was raining. And we sat outside and we cried like motherfuckers, like babies, bro. I done it. Like it was hard at times. Again, I wanted to quit. I was already 20 something years old and I'm sleeping on somebody's couch. I'm staying in New York. I'm the only thing, because I've never been a slouch. So the only thing that I know that I can do for the people that I'm staying with is make sure that they house clean and make sure that they dishes washed. And, make sure if they needed something from the store, I would run to the store for them. But I was that dude before I went to prison. I was that, my money was straight. I was a big dog before I went. And so here I am now washing people's dishes and, sweeping their house up. And it was hard for a dude that was on a certain level in life, as a street guy, to have to humble himself to just survive. Because I refused. Sure, I had people in New York that wanted to hand me something. Hey, man, come on, man. We know who you are. Hey, man, we know your brother. We know that. Hey, man, we remember you from back. Hey, man, here, take this and get yourself. I'm not doing that. Because if I do something wrong, then all of this would have been for nothing. I came home from doing 6 years and left everything and everyone that I knew and I loved to go to a place in pursuit of my dream. I was determined to make this dream happen. And I can't get up here and do something stupid and mess around and get myself caught up in something. I'm already in New York. And anything can happen in New York. A lot of people went up there and they never come back.
Petey Pablo. Petey Pablo is about to sign with Death Row.
This section completely changes the pace by showing the human side of Petey Pablo's journey. Instead of fame and success, the focus turns to sacrifice, humility, and determination after prison. The story highlights how someone who once had money accepted difficult circumstances without taking shortcuts, choosing discipline over easy opportunities. It's a reminder that rebuilding a life often requires putting pride aside before success returns.
You feel me? That in the boat, and he said something. He put Suge's name in it. And Sugar just walked through the door. It's like 30 just Bloods and Crips. You could tell he was hating. And the tension was in that. I ain't with none of that Blood Crip, but I say Blood and Cuz in the same sentence. Nigga, I'm a real nigga. I'm an East Oakland nigga, so I can do that. The other can't. So the whole point is, you know, I ain't gonna disrespect you. If you're a Crip, I ain't gonna keep blooding you. If you're a Blood, I ain't gonna cuz you. That just ain't how I get out. You know, I'm gonna do the respect, right? But all my real though, you feel me? Most of them, that was real hitters. You feel me? At the same time, Petey put the name, Sugar name in the song. And hey, cut the music. That went into the booth and closed the curtain. Right? What's going on? About 3 minutes later, the curtain over. Session over. Give me session over. We just got here. Session was over. I don't know what that said to that, but I guess he didn't want that nigga to say his name in the song, period. Cut that whole session over. I ain't heard from Petey Pablo since.
Here, the atmosphere becomes noticeably tense as the discussion moves inside a death row recording session. The moment Suge Knight enters after hearing his name mentioned, the mood changes instantly, ending the session without explanation. From an outside perspective, this sequence demonstrates how quickly power and reputation could influence situations behind the scenes, leaving unanswered questions that continue fueling speculation years later.
When you say North Carolina, everybody want to raise up. It's like, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling, and I'm still humbled because I'm such a hometown country boy that I don't feel, there's nothing bigger than the group, and Carolina is the group. So I don't feel like what everybody looks at me as, but it's just an amazing feeling.
Did you ever imagine it would be as big as it's gotten?
Never. All I wanted, and I was just inducted into the Carolina Music Hall of Fame.
Right.
So in my speech, I said, only thing I wanted was for a state that never had the recognition to be recognized. Because my label was like, Petey, we can't put this song out because don't nobody know what North Carolina is. And I'm like, well, this is all I'm giving you right now. So you got to work with what you got. So they was like, well, at least go back and put all the cities' names in there. So I'm like, okay, but this one was the one.
2 years later, in 2004, Petey dropped his sophomore album, Still Writing in My Diary, Second Entry, which featured his big...
That's the young people that is gonna come up. I bought Petey Pablo's Diary of a Sinner. Petey Pablo, I love him. My kids, Dad, who is this country dude? He's a rapper. North Carolina, raise up, put your shirt off, twist it around your head like a helicopter. That's my cut, man. I actually took my shirt off. I've been caught up in this dog. Then he got Diary of a Sinner. I love the song about when he was down to he thought he was dead broke. I had scraping up change in the ashtray, 2 cigarettes. He didn't know how he was gonna make it. That song, I listen to that to this day before I go to work, because it reminds me. Because it ain't always been this way. You know, you can't get this life. First of all, it's a blessing. This is grace and favor, you know. This ain't, your life ain't really supposed to be like this. I ain't really done nothing to deserve this. This is grace. This God just gave me a lot of grace, man. I really, on the real, I take no credit for where I am today. You know, I work hard, I'm funny, but this life I got, this...
They accused him of fondling or...
After the intense stories, the conversation shifts toward Petey Pablo's biggest success and the pride he carried for representing North Carolina. Rather than focusing only on fame, he reflects on perseverance, gratitude, and the struggles that shaped his career. This segment offers balance by reminding viewers that behind every hit record is a long journey filled with rejection, belief, and relentless dedication before recognition finally arrives.
Touching someone at a bar.
Oh, yeah. But
At a bar, and then they accused him of touching some dude.
It sounded like he...
Thing. I was like, dude,
I mean...
that's not Cuba. He wouldn't, I can't imagine
Really?
Cuba touching some man. No.
A man?
A man, yeah.
What is it, what is it with all the man-on-man action that I'm learning about? I mean, like with the puffy parties. Like, the last thing I ever thought that went on there was gay stuff. Not that gay stuff was wrong, it's wonderful. I just did not think that's what Puffy was doing.
Yeah, well, I didn't think it either. And even when my assistant said that stuff, I still was like joking it off. And it wasn't until later on that I heard other things from people that worked from him. You know, you remember that back in the times of slavery, they had a thing called breaking the buck, where they would take, not to go in a bad place, but this is how I see what's happening, the parallels with what's happening correlates what's happening in the business. If they, back in the times of slavery, if they had like some 12-year-old slave that was just full of himself and confident and, you know, wasn't listening, they would tie him to a log or a barrel, and a bunch of the overseers would them, to where when he walked around with the slaves now, he didn't have the confidence.
Sure.
He was broken, and it was called breaking the buck.
Wow.
And that's still taking place. And so to hear that people in the industry are still making young rappers who have fought the worst of circumstances, being disenfranchised, being discounted, and then they finally like, I'm gonna put it into music. I'm gonna do it in the music. I'm gonna, and get myself together. And they go and see someone, and they tell them, okay, yeah, you can have a deal. You know, perform on me, and you get your deal. That was what I heard while I was on Empire about some of the people in the business. And Petey Pablo, you remember Petey Pablo?
I know who that is.
Petey Pablo, talented writer, singer. Him and Young Buck wrote a song called Ho His Own. And in that song, back in about 2011 or 29 or something, because he called out all of the taking place at those parties and those people, he was kicked out of the music business. No radio station would play his stuff. So you look for Petey Pablo, he's not around anymore. But that song, Ho Its Own, they did not care. They went all in.
So the whole Terrence story, that was a whole story within itself. Anyway.
The discussion returns to the darker side of the entertainment industry, touching on allegations, personal experiences, and stories that have circulated for years. As an outside observer, it's important to recognize that these are serious claims and not established facts unless proven. Even so, the conversation reveals why so many people remain fascinated by what may happen behind closed doors and how rumors can shape careers, reputations, and public perception long before the truth is fully known.
Because the reason that I got that role on Empire was, like Cherry said, I'm just that guy. I just so happened to run into Terrence Howard in the Four Seasons Hotel, and I was like, hey, what's up, man? That's Terrence, the Hustle and Flow. Oh man, what's up? He was like, man, I listen to all your stuff. He was like, even when I was on Hustle and Flow, he was like, I listen to your music. You know, he said I was trying to act like Petey Pablo, and that's crazy to me. You did. So I said, hey man, we all going out. What's up? You want to come out? And he was like, nah, man, I'm going through a little something right now, man. I lost my wallet, lost my credit cards and everything, so I'm just going up to my room, man. So I was like, damn, you lost. So I reached in my pocket and pulled out 200. He was like, here, take it. He was like, here. He was like, I was like, no, man, you just don't be walking around with nothing in your pocket. Like, here. And I gave him the money and I walked off. So fast forward, 13 years later, I get a phone call. And this was a couple years ago. He was like, is this Petey? I was like, yeah. He was like, first of all, I need you to see this. He's like, this is Terrence Howard. I was like, damn, what's up, bro? I ain't heard from you in years. Last time, he was like, yeah, last time I seen you, something happened between us. And I need you to send me your address because I owe you some money. And I was like, nah, bro, you don't owe me no money. He was like, bro, send me your address or I'm going to hang the phone up and you'll never hear from me again. So I'm like, okay. So I give him my phone, my address. 2 days later, I get a check for $15,000.
Dang, what a great investment.
Crazy, right? Crazy. So I called him back and I was like, bro, he was like, listen, you do not realize that at that time, I didn't lose my wallet. He was like, I just said that because I was so embarrassed that I was going through what I was going through in life. And he was like, effortlessly, you just reached in your pocket and handed me money and didn't really even know me. You knew me from watching me on TV. You know, we had never had a conversation or anything. And he was like, and people that I've known for years had denied me at that point in time in his life. And he was like, and he was really in a bad place. He was like, for me to reach in my pocket and effortlessly just do an act of kindness that way, he was like, it changed his thought about life. And I was like, man, that's really crazy. He was like, now we got that out of the way. Now I need you to help me on this empire situation.
This part steps away from controversy and delivers one of the most genuine moments in the entire story. Years after a simple act of kindness, Petey Pablo unexpectedly receives gratitude from Terrence Howard in a way he never imagined. From a third-person perspective, this moment proves that generosity often creates lasting impacts beyond money itself. Sometimes the smallest gesture during someone's lowest point becomes the very reason a meaningful opportunity appears years later.
What's next for you? We saw you on the set of Empire, saw you doing your thing on Empire. Are you going back to the set, but you said you got to go to LA first, actually?
Yeah, man. Well, you know, I'm still writing music for the show. Mm-hmm. And Terrence is my brother, you know, and that's another thing. Again, I don't want to speak too much about it because, you know, when I get uneasy feelings about certain situations, you know, sometimes my mouth will put me in situations where I'll be walking around looking like I have lost everything in the world. Like, what did I just say? Mm-hmm. I did not just say that publicly, but I will, you know, and really don't mind it. But I mean, I understand that there are dire consequences behind some of the things that I say. But Terrence Howard is my brother, and there's nothing that man cannot ask me to do besides some of that stuff they do on TV. No, but that's my brother, man. And you know, whatever I can do to help him and the show, man, I mean, I'm always there, and you know.
That connection landed Pablo a small role on Empire, where he played an inmate alongside Howard's character, Lucius.
Pablo, let me just say something right quick. Hip hop, anybody who got a respect for hip hop, you listen to your right now. Suge, y'all gotta respect what Suge done did for the game, okay? Regardless of the negativity that the media has portrayed, that man is hip hop history. You understand what I'm saying? That man is hip hop history. With owning cracker that man was in the media without negativity, y'all was all on his. Then as soon as the white man or whoever come in and try to say what the man that did wrong, who he was involved with, I want to let him go. Stop doing that to people in the industry. Judge them off your own merit. Don't let no other rapper say something about one rapper and you take from that one. You understand what I'm saying? Stick with it. Be a true fan. Don't be no whole fan. You know what I'm saying? Yes. If you dedicated, be dedicated. If not, we don't need you because we're going to eat anyway. Anyway. You understand what I'm saying? It's new in the system. Where you at, Remy? Where you at, Jay? Where you at, Jay? It's new in the system. Ain't nobody just trying to shake their in the videos no more. We about to get money. It's about network and communication. You understand what I'm saying?
I'm watching Petey Pablo in his car, and my brother, Big Spider, in his passenger seat doing this.
Here, the conversation focuses on loyalty, relationships, and respect within the entertainment industry. Petey Pablo speaks carefully about his friendship with Terrence Howard, while acknowledging that public words can carry serious consequences. The discussion then shifts towards Suge Knight's influence on hip-hop, showing how opinions about controversial figures often remain deeply divided. It reminds viewers that history is rarely viewed through only one perspective.
And Petey Pablo let me unscrew his earring. Rest in peace, Del Dog from Main Street. If it wasn't for Del Dog pulling up, not demanding, but really politicking, pleading, begging my brother, because he had interest with Petey Pablo that he needed Petey Pablo to feel like, I'm safe with you, I was here with you. So Del Dog really pleaded to my brother to give him that pass, which was a very hard pass for my brother to get. But I just seen Petey Pablo sit there and allow a nigga to screw his earrings out and didn't do nothing.
Damn.
Am I lying, Petey Pablo?
Man, Suge just pretended like he wasn't around or didn't, because wasn't Petey Pablo actually signed to Death Row at one point or was gonna sign?
This is the thing. With Suge, it had nothing to do with Petey Pablo. It had everything to do with when he got with us. My brother, M.O., his whole interest, his approach was to ask Suge permission. Is it okay for me to get down like that around here while we moving around? And just before it was even a Petey Pablo to think about, and my brother getting that shit like that, when nobody in particular was the
person we're talking about should kind of like gave him the green light and let him know, I know how you get down, and when we moving, that's in the game too. You know, just don't be messy, cross nobody up, implicate nothing. Suge ain't robbing nobody. He ain't got nothing to do with it, but he was trying to let my brother know, I know how you get down, and when shit go down, if it go down, don't feel like I think you offending me or, you know, backdoing. Like, green light, you know, just keep it clean as far as don't have me crossed up. That was just the understanding. And P. Pablo just somebody else, that another, so that was just the understanding. Suge wasn't gonna let P. Pablo feel like, oh, you watch me get robbed. Nah. Suge still gonna have a position with P. Pablo like, I'm at least try to see what I can do. And Suge was cool enough to where he might negotiate a few coins about a P. Pablo on our behalf for him to get them earrings back. It was that type of understanding. You feel me? So I'm just letting you know it's nothing new for that type of be going down. Like P. Pablo, yeah, he was sitting there real comfortable, calm, letting him do it.
Go back and watch the Math Hoffa interview. I kind of like broke it down, and Math was trying to get me to say the names and like really say names. I'm like, I ain't gotta do that because I don't want to f brothers' lives up like that. Yeah. But I'll say this: the music business is ran by the devil.
The tension rises again as more behind-the-scenes stories emerge involving death row, gang culture, and incidents that allegedly unfolded around P.D. Pablo. Rather than presenting dramatic conclusions, this segment highlights how personal experiences, street politics, and industry relationships often become intertwined. Whether every account could be verified or not, these stories illustrate why the music business has long been surrounded by mystery, conflicting narratives, and larger-than-life reputations.
So, the music business is only designed to get as many people to go away from God as possible. So what happens is, the devil needs workers, and by workers, he needs people who have influence, who can mislead or misguide people away from the light into the darkness.
So I was that kid out there, and they were great friends. They embraced me, man. And my whole crowd was always black. I never thought I'd ever play for white people until my music went #1. And when it went #1, all of a sudden my crowds I went from smaller crowds to huge stadiums. In rap music, it just hadn't been done like that before. So for me, I was just like, whoa.
So pretty much the whole time you was in prison, he didn't reach out to you?
Yeah, you know? Yeah, man. Shout out to him too, man.
Yeah, I mean, he going through a lot right now. How you feel about everything Diddy going through right now? Like his houses getting ready for trafficking. How you feel about that?
Well, I mean, I feel like, whatever's going on, he's gonna handle it. However, whatever happens, whatever transpires, you know what I mean? I mean, like I said, man, I don't know what happened. I don't even know what's going on. You know where I was at. You know what I mean? So, I hope the brother get around it, man. You know what I mean? Whatever's going on.
The easy person to blame is Diddy because everybody blaming for stuff, but yeah, I mean, that's dope, man. For you to be like, yo, I did this or I did that,
As the conversation reaches current events, P.D. Pablo is asked about the legal troubles surrounding Diddy. Instead of making bold accusations or choosing sides, he responds with noticeable caution, emphasizing that he doesn't know all the facts while hoping the situation is handled fairly. From an outside perspective, this reaction shows how public figures often balance personal relationships with the responsibility of avoiding conclusions before legal processes reach their outcome.
Oh, I mean, yeah, man. I mean, it's real, man. I mean, you can't run around. I don't know, man. I don't really subscribe to that, though. You know what I mean? Like, you can't. You gotta look at what's really going on. A lot of times, I don't know if that's something that I developed, and I don't know when that developed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the truth is, the truth is just important. Like, you know what I mean? At some point in my life, I realized that, truth is just, genuineness is important, and that kind of, trickles out into, anything you really can do. Like, be truthful. Why do you think you got dropped? You know what I'm saying? It's all about truth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Why do you think? Come on, honestly. You know what I mean? Don't fool yourself. You're only lying to yourself. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
The final moments leave viewers with a broader message that goes beyond celebrities and headlines. The discussion turns toward truth, accountability, and the importance of being honest with yourself, suggesting that personal growth begins by facing reality rather than making excuses. Regardless of where viewers stand on the stories shared throughout the video, this closing encourages reflection instead of speculation. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel for more in-depth analyses, and we'll see you in the next video.